Hello, I'm Dennis Hampson. I'm the Chief Emergency Planning Officer for the Cleveland Emergency Planning Unit. Cleveland is an area full of risks. We have a large number of chemical sites, we have a nuclear power station, we have a large road and rail network, we have incidents of flooding. Cleveland has a joint emergency planning unit from the four local authorities of Hartlepool, Stockton, Middlesbrough and Redcar and Cleveland, joined together with the emergency planning officers from the police, the fire brigade and the ambulance service to effectively plan to mitigate against the risks that we've got here in Cleveland. And so today we are going to try an exercise which involves a chemical tanker. We estimate that we have around 700 chemical tankers on our roads at any one time here in Cleveland. And of course they can be involved in accidents. And if they are involved in accidents, then there could be some catastrophic effects. So today we're going to look at one of those incidents, see how best we can learn from one of those incidents and plan for the future.
Exercise Montgomery took place on Wednesday the 27th of February 2008 at PDT Sport in Redcar and Cleveland. The exercise was developed by Cleveland Police Emergency Planning Unit in cooperation with Cleveland Emergency Planning Unit, Cleveland Fire and Rescue and North East Ambulance Service. The scenario was a tanker crashing into a van and the tanker subsequently tipping over and leaking an unknown chemical. As a result of the accident, 4 people are trapped in the van. The tanker was supplied by Suttons for use in the exercise, which has been filled with water to represent the chemical pentane. Pentane is a chemical that Suttons would normally transport for SABIC chemicals. The tanker is put into place using a crane supplied by J. Hewitt Cranes. Following a 999 call from the driver of the tanker, the emergency services arrive on scene and quickly assess the situation. The firefighters determine the nature of the chemical from the hazmat warning board found on the tanker. From this, the name of the chemical is found, as well as the effects it may have on the trapped passengers in the van, the firefighters and also the environment.
No one on the sixth here. There's ladies here. I'll go back. Where's the passengers? 2. One on the passenger, one on the driver of the tanker. So one on the tanker, they're in the caravan. That's it. In the front compartment. I can't see any behind. Just them 2 in the front compartment. Right here.
What we've done up to now, made contact
so
with the
you haven't got the service.
2 lads going into ambulance with me. Mate, we've got these out as a form of protection when we need to. What next is going to be the casualties, right? Pentane in it, PAN. They can't get the casualties because they're going to have to prise the doors open. Right. So we can't get service sets on board. Right. So we need to deal that leak, don't we? We need to take that leak out.
What I need from you now is a company representative to come to the scene straight away to give us further advice in relation to the vehicle. Yes, please, yeah.
Here, put them on.
The spelling is pentane, Papa Esco. Correction.
Yeah, just have a quick look, Dale. See? Right? I'll do it, Dale. Right? Do that. If you can't isolate that from that hatch, just do that. Then we know we've got to put a blanket of foam down.
I can't understand you on that handset.
I'd say about 5,000 litres already gone. Not that I can see, there is no drains now. Up there.
You in?
Have they got beer cons?
Someone's on channel 6, yes. Someone's on channel 6. Not that one.
Can we start with the fire service and tell us exactly what we've got so far?
Yeah, what we've got at the moment, obviously we all know the scene, we've got a tanker and a camper van and casualties involved. We've checked it out, we've now got 4 confirmed casualties. Our concerns are getting those people out, but it's risky at the moment because of the leaking product. So we're looking to get a foam blanket down to suppress this, the vapour leaks before we get the casualties out. We're also looking to contain this, so I'm going to get some booms and some hose around to try and contain this problem and stop it spreading elsewhere. So that's our main priorities at the moment.
Is there any other information that we need at the moment? We've got a representative from the company. Do we need anything from the company?
We've got to observe first of all, see what it is, and then report back to
we've already confirmed, as far as I'm aware, it's pentane, UN number 1265.
Yeah, that's confirmed with what we've been told initially.
Right.
We've looked at possible evacuation. We've upgraded ours now to a silver command, which I'll be handing over to now.
So pentane, it's highly volatile, highly flammable, and sparks is an issue, right? See what the casualties are like and what requires further, right? We're limited on what we can use. Now, if the limitation is a point of that there's no way of extricating them before the pentane gets took out of the tanker, then we have to come back to them and say, look, there's major work on to get these out. All right.
Firefighters use foam in an environmentally friendly fashion to coat the pentane that's leaked from the tanker to minimise the risks that the chemical poses. It's been established that pentane is dangerous if inhaled or if it comes into contact with the skin. Because of this, firefighters use breathing apparatus to free casualties from the van and are also carrying spare BA equipment for the casualties.
We've got a decon crew on site here now, and they're busy setting up there. Once we get the nod from the fire service for decon, as the casualties come through, we run through decon. We've actually got a vehicle standby for hospital attendants.
Having established that one casualty has come into contact with the chemical, he's taken to the North East Ambulance Decontamination Unit. The other casualties are taken straight to the waiting ambulances. A company specialist from the tanker operator, together with the fire brigade, assess how to stop the leak.
Right, welcome to the second briefing. There are a couple of new faces here, so very quickly round the table.
The purpose of the silver level is to ensure that the actions taken by the officers at the front end are coordinated, coherent and integrated in order to achieve maximum effectiveness and efficiency. Silver will normally comprise of the most senior officers of each agency committed within the area of operations or individuals with specialist knowledge, and will assume tactical command in the event or situation.
Miranda Sykes, Mission Master Manager for Cleveland Police.
For this exercise, Silver Command consists of Cleveland Police Incident Commander, Cleveland Fire and Rescue Incident Commander, North East Ambulance Service, SABIC Technical Advisor, Harbour Police, Sutton's Company Representative, Cleveland Police Press Officer, Local Authority Emergency Planning Officer and the Environment Agency.
Thank you very much.
Silver Commanders will determine priorities for allocating available resources, plan and coordinate how and when tasks will be undertaken, obtain additional resources if required, assess significant risks and use this to inform tasking of bronze commanders, and ensure the health and safety of the public and personnel. The remaining pentane is transshipped from the overturned tanker by a specialist team from Sutton's, assisted by Cleveland Fire Brigade.
During the course of managing an incident within the police gold-silver command structure, and that which is used by the other major emergency services, we conduct a series of meetings, interagency briefings if you like, which we term as timeouts, which enable each of the agencies involved at a command level to provide updates on what they're doing in their particular field of expertise, and that feeds into our role as the police in terms of a coordination function.
And how's it going so far?
So far things are running quite well. We're happy that on an operational level we've stemmed the flow of the product today. We're now moving into another phase in terms of removing the risk of that product from the scene, so that we can then get ourselves back to normal, and we've recovered every casualty that have been notified to us, so things are going well as we speak.
Members of various organisations such as Cleveland Police, North East Ambulance Service, Cleveland Fire and Rescue and SABIC Chemicals took part in mock television and radio interviews, which can be invaluable practice as they may be interviewed during a real incident.
Right, so first of all, can you tell us what happened today?
Earlier this morning there was a road traffic collision involving a wagon containing a substance called pentane and a small caravanette type vehicle, which you can see in the background.
How many people were in the caravanette?
I can't confirm those numbers at this moment, but we are working on the principle that there were 4 casualties altogether.
What's the condition of those casualties? We've seen people coming out of there.
Those casualties are all alive and have been removed from the scene and are currently being treated at James Cook Hospital.
And how long did it take you to get down on the site this morning?
Well, our initial response was within a few minutes through our road policing unit, followed up by officers from Redcar and Cleveland Policing District, and ultimately myself as a Police Silver Commander.
And what do we know about this chemical?
Pentane is a chemical which is dangerous if inhaled. Also, it's dangerous if it comes into direct contact with the skin. However, the nature of the chemical is such that it is so volatile that it will, as it gases off into the air, it will evaporate and dissipate very, very quickly. And as a result of the prevailing weather conditions today, presents a very, very minimal risk to those who are any distance from the site of the incident itself.
What sort of an area did you have to evacuate then?
We've evacuated an area in the region of 400 metres around, which includes in the background from me an area where we've got some rail transport there, and we've also got a small factory premise to my left.
So has it caused any disruptions to the port or transport around here?
It's minimal disruption in the immediate area, but certainly no disruption to the wider activity of the port and that of the Wilton site, which is adjacent.
What's the immediate environmental impact of this? Is there a danger of it getting into the waterways?
Well, thankfully, given our location, and as you can see in the background, the fact that it's gone onto a hard standing area, there's very limited impact to the water courses, and our proximity to the river is such that if it does get into the river, the Environment Agency is able to monitor that very, very closely. There's a very small risk of it dissipating actually into the ground itself. But most of the product has been covered by a foam blanket which has been put in place by the fire service, and that which hasn't been covered has, as I say, evaporated into the air and dissipates very, very quickly with minimal risk.
what's your view on how the emergency services have performed today?
Well, I think these kind of incidents are testimony to the amount of training that we do. We're conscious in the Cleveland area that we live in an area of a great concentration of chemical factories. There's an awful lot of products transported by road on a daily basis, and we train very hard to make sure that when the day comes for these types of incidents being live, we're able to respond quickly, work together and resolve them very quickly, which is what's happened today.
It was quite interesting. This is an opportunity for all the services to work together to resolve an incident of this nature. It's really quite important to us to work together on exercises, because when we come to a real incident, we're working with people we know, we understand how each other work, and it, without a doubt, results in a conclusion that we'd all like.
So you didn't know what was in that tanker before you got here?
No, we didn't know.
And how did you find out what was in it?
In essence, when vehicles are transported around in tankers, they have panels on them, and in essence on those panels what you get is you have the name of the chemical, you have a unique identification number, and from that enables us to use the systems that we have on our fire appliances to determine what the chemical is, and basically the first aid firefight in action, or dealing in this case as it was a spill of chemicals, what protective clothing the firefighters require, and even the nature of the chemical itself, whether it is flammable, toxic or whatever else it may be.
So can you talk me through exactly what you did as soon as you got here?
Yeah. Initially what crews do is obviously they identify the material from the panel, identify any other information that may come for example a lorry driver who might see the incident, which gives them details about who might be in the vehicle itself, or who in this case was in the other vehicle and how many casualties, and that's the first priority, to rescue the casualties. But because of the nature, the flammable nature of this material itself, what our aim was as well as rescue the casualties that we rescue quickly with the appropriate breathing apparatus, was also prevent that vapour from spreading, because it was a flammable vapour, by applying a foam blanket, and as you can see behind me, that's exactly what they've done. Then ultimately with the casualties, because two in the vehicle which are a bit more difficult to access, what we did is ensure the leak was contained within the area and then carried out a rescue. From that point the casualties were then taken to the ambulance and treated by the ambulance service personnel.
And once you've made the people safe and the area safe, what's the final stage here?
Well, what it is once we've dealt with the people phase, as it was, obviously what we look to is restoration, and part and parcel of that, which links into one of the earlier phases, is we always consider the damage that this material may do to the environment. Part and parcel of that was actually having a boom around and stopping the chemical from leaking into the environment. Now, when we reach this stage, which we did in sort of like the middle phase of the incident, is working together with the product experts, the company that's responsible for the tanker, and obviously recovery companies, because the aim is to remove the chemical from the tanker and then clean up afterwards.
And how useful is a practice like this for you?
Oh, extremely useful. What you've got is a situation here where you've got a lot of services working together, and it's not always just the blue light services, because there's a lot of services that are very important in the resolution of incidents, because it's a bigger picture. We're on an industrial area here, but potentially a material like this can affect the public. There's a need to communicate this, and this is where other services, local authority, emergency planners, come into the fore in this sort of thing. And this is about meeting people. The people we meet on exercises will be the people that we meet at incidents, and it's much easier when you form those relationships at this stage than it is in an incident. It makes for a much better communication process.
And were you happy with the way your lads performed today?
Absolutely, and was I going to say anything else? But yeah, like any incident this type, what we will do is we'll debrief the incident and look at how things could have been done differently, how things could have been done better, and in some respects sometimes that's about process, procedure, or even the equipment that we use.
Back in the warm surroundings of the office, having been part of Exercise Montgomery on a cold and blustery day, I would like to spend a few moments reflecting upon what you've just seen. Life is full of risks, but within Cleveland we try to mitigate against those risks by having plans and procedures in place. Once we've got the plans in place, we need to identify who are the people who are going to respond, who are the people who are going to have roles and responsibilities within the plans. Having identified those people, we then make sure that we give them the appropriate training and advice so that they can meet the challenges that they may face during a major incident. But of course, once we have trained them once we have given them the confidence in the plan, in their own skills and abilities, we need to test it within an exercise. Of course, exercises don't just happen. They take time and effort to prepare and activate on the day. Further, once the exercise is completed, we need to ensure that we learn the lessons. So we undertake a number of debriefs with the players themselves, with exercise umpires, observers, directors, to ensure that we can learn the lessons, know what went well, know what we need to do better for the future, and plan appropriately. Exercise Montgomery was very successful, but a number of lessons have been learned. The exercise itself highlighted the skills and the knowledge held by the responders here within Cleveland. I cannot stress enough the excellent cooperation and sharing that occurs across the multi-agency framework that is evident within Cleveland. However, this exercise was only one of many that take place within Cleveland each year, and I would wish to record my appreciation for the hard work and dedication by members of the multi-agency Cleveland Emergency Planning Unit for the planning and executing of this and other exercises. Finally, may I express my grateful thanks to others involved in this exercise, particularly to Sutton Tankers and Sabic Chemicals. Their involvement allowed them to test their own plans and procedures. Also, my thanks to Hewitt Cranes, the Salvation Army who provided hot food and refreshments throughout the exercise, to the Territorial Army who provided tents, to PDT Sport for allowing us to use their facilities, and lastly to BBC Tees. Well done to all those who took part in the exercise. Remember, major incidents and emergencies can and do happen, and they may involve you, so be prepared to meet that challenge.